The Garden of Second Chance. In a small, quiet village nestled between rolling hills and whispering trees, there lived a woman named Elara. She was known by all as the town's grump, always frowning, always alone, and always muttering to herself about how people were ungrateful, the world unfair, and happiness just an illusion. Elara hadn't always been this way. Years ago, she had been vibrant and full of dreams. But one stormy night changed everything. Her husband Jonah had gone out to help a neighbor and never came back. A tree fell on the road, taking his life instantly. Grief twisted her heart into something bitter. She sold the bakery they had run together and locked herself away in a crumbling cottage at the edge of town. No one dared approach her, and she never invited anyone in. Years passed. Children grew up hearing stories of the Witch of the Wisteria House, named for the purple vines that wrapped her home, but no one truly knew her. One spring, something strange happened. A little girl named May, no more than 8, wandered too far from her school picnic. She followed a butterfly through the forest and ended up in Elara's yard, mesmerized by the wild, overgrown garden that buzzed with bees and bloomed with forgotten flowers. May touched a lavender bloom and sneezed, startling Elara, who was nearby pruning dead branches. "What are you doing here?" Elara barked. May, wide-eyed, simply said, "Your flowers are beautiful." Elara blinked, stunned. No one had spoken kindly to her in years. "Go home," she snapped. May nodded, but before turning away, she added, "You must be really kind to flowers." That night, Elara couldn't sleep. "Kind to flowers?" she whispered. Her hands were worn, calloused. Her voice was harsh. Her heart, cold. But the flowers did bloom, didn't they? The next day, Elara found a small note tucked under her gate. In shaky crayon letters, it read, "Can I learn to grow flowers too?" May. Against every instinct, Elara left the gate unlocked. May returned that afternoon, carrying a watering can too big for her hands. She beamed when she saw Elara waiting. Day by day, May came back. She asked questions, pulled weeds, and named every flower. She brought sunshine to the old garden, and slowly, something in Elara softened. They planted forget-me-nots near the fence, sunflowers by the shed, and tiny wild strawberries in the corner. May's laughter filled the air like wind chimes. "Why don't you have any roses?" May asked one day. Elara froze. Jonah had loved roses. "I used to," she whispered, "but they reminded me of someone." May said nothing but gave her a soft hug. That evening, Elara opened a dusty box and pulled out a packet of rose seeds. Her hands trembled, but she planted them. Word spread through the village. People whispered of the child who had melted the witch's heart. Curious mothers peeked over the fence. Fathers offered compost, and children pressed their faces to the gate, marveling at the beauty. One morning, a teenage boy named Finn knocked on the door. "I don't know how to talk to my dad," he said. "He doesn't listen. Can I help in the garden to think?" Elara paused, then nodded. Then came Mrs. Lewin, newly widowed. "I have too much silence at home," she confessed. "Could I sit among your lilies for a while?" Soon the garden became a place of healing. Not loud, not busy, just peaceful. People weeded out pain as they weeded soil. They planted hope with every seed. Elara started baking again, small scones at first, then honey bread using herbs from the garden. She laughed more. She smiled. Sometimes she cried, but the kind that watered the soul, not tore it apart. Years went by. May, now a teenager, still came every weekend. She'd grown taller, wiser, and always wore a sunflower in her braid. "You changed everything," she said one afternoon as they pruned the rose bushes. "No," Elara replied. "You just reminded me who I used to be." The town renamed the Garden of Second Chances, and at its heart stood a wooden sign with a simple truth. Even the coldest winter gives way to spring. Every heart deserves another bloom. Moral of the story: no pain is too deep to heal. With kindness, time, and a little patience, even the most broken hearts can find a second chance.